And if you're automating these discounts without using coupon codes, you're going to have an easier time on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and you can kind of focus on the fulfillment, logistics, things that like really take up a lot of time.
Welcome to the Marketing Automation Hustle Podcast, where we break down the essential strategies of email marketing and automation to help e-commerce brands hyper-personalize their customer journey and increase sales on autopilot. So get ready to automate your marketing like a pro with Sendlane's brand marketing manager and your host, Caitlin Hutchinson.
Welcome back to the Marketing Automation Hustle Podcast, listeners. The holiday season is here. It's so crazy that it's already arrived. I have a really exciting episode ahead for you guys because for e-commerce, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, December month, it's the biggest season of spending, and that's something you guys should really be taking advantage of. So we're going to be talking a lot today about how you guys can optimize your website, your emails, all the different channels that communicate to make those sales and really make the most of the holidays. But before we get into all the details and I introduce our guest, I want to remind you guys that we have officially launched E-commerce Email Academy. It's our brand new course. It's jam-packed with value for you guys as e-commerce marketers. You can check out all the details for that course at ecomemailacademy.com/podcast, and you'll really learn how to build an engaging relationship with your customers, obviously grow your online sales, and increase your customer LTV all on autopilot. It's a course you'll definitely want to check out, and you can do that at ecomemailacademy.com/podcast. So a few episodes back, you guys might remember if you tuned in, we had somebody here, Rob Hammett. He's the Director of Solutions over at Just Uno. They're an AI visitor conversion platform. And it was a really awesome Skype episode, but he just happened to be in town. So we thought we'd get him here in-house at Sendlane headquarters into the studio in San Diego today, and he's here. So real quick, before we kind of dive into everything, can you remind our listeners what Just Uno does, what the purpose of the platform is?
Right, yeah. So AI Visitor and Conversion Suite, we create profiles for visitors that are coming to your site. Everybody that comes to your site, from new visitors to people that have come back 5 or 6 times, and that allows you to target them with personalized on-site lead capture campaigns or various on-site retargeting and messaging to help boost any kind of conversion, whether that's a lead conversion or a sales conversion. Whatever the goal is for that visitor, we help you convert that through messaging and AI-driven campaigns.
So in a nutshell, really, you're collecting customer data from their website and using that to create more targeted on-site messaging.
Yeah, we put the data in the power of the merchant so that they can turn around and say, I really want to get very granular with who I'm targeting because I know that this specific social campaign might generate more leads for me if I present them with personalized messaging, or I do a personalized promotion that got them to click through on the website, or if I'm targeting someone who's never made a purchase and been on my site 4 times. We know that if you give the merchant the power to target those people with certain messaging, that you'll have a better chance. They'll have a better on-site experience because you're speaking directly to them.
Definitely.
And the merchant will be able to convert those people at a higher rate.
Totally. And we talk a lot about email marketing here and how to personalize that just here at Sendlane, but that all starts on your website, getting that email and capturing it. So on some level, like, you really got to be thinking about how to personalize that on-site message because that's where everything's starting. Right. So I did want to talk to you a little bit. I also should mention, actually, Rob and I were sitting here just kind of chatting, and I learned that you have your own store.
I do.
What is the store?
It's called deadwestthreads.com. It's fairly new, but I went through the whole process setting up on Shopify, and then all the logistics that go in that have nothing to do with marketing. Yeah. And so I'm going through that process now. The store's live. It's called deadwestthreads.com.
Doing it all on your own, I'm assuming.
Doing it all on my own.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys, that's something that Rob does, because that makes you even more relatable. You're in there doing all the same things our listeners are doing, trying to get their stores up and running, trying to figure out where to start and how to optimize things. So I think that's a really great perspective that you have.
Thank you. It's also a great creative outlet too for designing t-shirts, because we
Yeah.
sell t-shirts, and so it's a great creative outlet, and it's a great way to put yourself in the merchant's shoes.
Totally. You guys focus a lot on pop-ups.
Yep.
So actually, maybe we can get your shirt on camera. I'm not sure. Maybe if you can turn
Let's
around
see.
a little bit. I really liked his t-shirt. It says, "I love it when you call me Big Pop-Up." So I was going to start at pop-ups anyways. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, we've actually...
Hopefully you guys get the reference. If not, you Google it.
If not, you're probably a young millennial.
Yeah.
But we're thinking about opening a store, because this was every time we go to a partner or a client, it seems to be people want this shirt more than they want other, like shirts that you get at conferences and things like that. So we're like, should we start a store? Like, should we launch these? And
it's like, it's great. It's really targeted towards your audience. It's great. I mean, gets attention. So, but so generally during the holiday season, when we're online shopping and everything, we're hit with lots of different offers. Like, it's pretty crazy, not even just in email, but just online. I think naturally when you're shopping during this time of year, you're expecting to go to a website and grab some sort of deal. I know I am. So how do you guys kind of start at creating a message that's really perfectly targeted to a visitor from your experience? What are the kind of data points you take, the different ways that you create that offer so it's perfectly timed and has the perfect messaging?
right. And do you mean like year round, or specifically with the holidays?
Well, I guess year round versus just in general, I guess we can start with, but also kind of how do you go into the holidays and change that up a little bit, if that makes sense. So
Right.
maybe you're taking all of your customer data that you've already been collecting or have collected from even previous holiday seasons, and then trying to create something that's more highly optimized for the current season.
Right. We have some really good kind of starting points from our pro services team and our account management team. In our marketing, we've actually pulled a lot of aggregate data about 2018, 2017, where the trends are going based off that. And then in previous years, I've hosted a holiday hustle webinar series, and I'm doing it with our current director of customer success, Kelsey. And so a lot of that is also reaching out and researching with other partners and seeing what they've experienced. And so we want to use data to inform what our strategy is, instead of saying, I'm going off of a feeling, for instance.
Totally. As you should be.
Yeah. And so we're using data to inform that strategy. And we see that things like on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, you'll see far lower opt-in rates on email pop-ups, right? So we say, okay, maybe the goal shifts for these users or for our merchants, and leading up to Black Friday, your goal is to focus on lead capture, while on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you notice what your competition is doing. They're not gating their promotions. They're not, in a lot of cases, they're trying not to utilize coupon codes even. They're trying to just they're trying to open the floodgates and make it as easy as possible and not make their customers think. And then as far as targeted messaging goes, we already know that by and large, email converts at the highest rate of any channel.
Yep.
Right. So what does that mean to inform our strategy? And if you kind of think outside of that, then you think, okay, I need to bolster that channel as much as possible. I need to shore up that channel, and I need to get as much firepower in there as possible. So that's why the year-round strategy, it's very much a year-round game where you're building your newsletter list, and you should always be focusing on that. And then by the time that this time of year comes around and we start thinking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we start thinking, okay, those people are going to be marketed to pretty heavily on our newsletter list. And then all the other channels are going to continue to not convert at a great rate or at a rate that we want them to. So let's try to turn them into leads so that we can market to them effectively.
Yeah.
And send them through our drip campaigns and try to, a lot of people talk about spending a lot of money on social.
Yeah.
Getting traffic from social. And historically, while social is very important in building your brand awareness, I would say, and it's very important in sort of like a social proof.
Yes.
And it's certainly where a lot of people spend money, their marketing budgets.
Yeah.
They should be focused on how do we generate the most return on investment and return on effort from the money and the effort that we're spending on getting those people to the site.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is not to convert them into a sale, even if your AOV is $22, right? If your average cart value is $22, even if that is the case, those people you should be focused on getting them into your email drip campaigns, because you know that they're more likely to convert in that.
Totally. So you're really more focusing on retargeting those people that have already been browsing on your website, if anything.
Yeah. We sort of separate, like I was saying, like for new visitors, generally speaking, you want the goal to be to capture a lead.
Yes,
right?
Of
Because
course.
they're not likely to convert into a sale.
Yeah.
And then return visitors, there's so many different ways that you can speak to them personally.
Yeah.
And you can say, hey, you left 3 items in your cart, or hey, you're clicking through from the welcome series, right?
And this is all on site.
This is all on site,
Yeah.
right? And so on-site retargeting, and we're saying this person's coming from an email, this person is returning with items in their cart, this is a returning customer, for instance. So
Totally.
you slice and dice that segment up, and then you market to them effectively in a way that lets them know that you know that they're back, you recognize them as a returning visitor, and you're personalizing the messaging and making sure that they know what your goal is for them. And then from a marketing point of view, you know that return traffic, if someone's coming back to your site, you know that their intent to buy is higher, so you can speak to them.
Exactly. And that's where your focus should be. And I think we're talking about pop-ups, but I think there's kind of a negative stigma around pop-ups. And a lot of businesses think, well, it's just kind of annoying, people won't like it. But like you're saying, I think if you really prioritize the customer experience and you're really trying to craft a message that's specifically targeted to the actions that person took on your website, or if it's a new visitor, actually, I did want to go back to that. If it's a new visitor and you are trying to get, capture their information so you can continue to market them, what are some of best practices at that step as far as crafting an offer that is appealing? Because that's more all-encompassing, not so specific, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It really depends on how many resources you have to A/B test and optimize those offers, for instance, that you're using to leverage to get email signups. And if you're someone that has a lot of resources, you might be building multiple different displays and A/B testing multiple different offers based on the channel that the new visitor is coming in through, right? So if you have that sort of time to do that, I find that a lot of people don't. Or they don't want to, because again, we go back to...
I personally love A/B testing.
I think in marketing, we love A/B testing.
I think it's awesome to, it's a lot of times what you thought was going to work didn't. I know even here at Sendlane, with certain campaigns or landing pages or whatever we're testing, it's always kind of cool to be able to look at the results and be like, actually, what I thought was really awesome isn't converting the best. Yeah. This is doing really well. And I'm assuming just, A/B testing is something you guys do.
I've learned to be humble about what I think is going to be, what I think might convert well, and what I'm telling people. I'm like, oh, this is definitely the route you want to go. 20% discount versus a 10% discount. Are you kidding me? Like, everybody's going to engage with that. And then you find out that there's a very marginal difference in people that opt into those offers. So you tell the merchant, like, with your tail between your legs, hey, sorry, that time that I told you that 20% was definitely going to convert better, it actually didn't for this specific goal that we have for this test, right? Yeah. And I think that is a big thing about A/B testing that sort of platforms can improve on. I think Justin included is we give a lot of metrics and KPIs for an A/B test result, right? And we would say, here's what the engaged conversion rate looks like. Here's what the engagement rate looks like on each variant in each promo. And I've had customers come to me and say, like, I don't know how to determine which one
what's
won.
better.
Which one do we go off of, right? And so I don't know if Sendlane experiences something similar, but
I agree actually. And quick shout out to Unbounce, because they have a great landing page builder. Yeah. That is, a feature that they have, which is really nice. It's immediately like, here's your champion landing page. Here's why. Here's the percentage that we're sure that this is the winner. And it's like no thinking. It's nice to not have to break that down. So I do think there's a lot of room to grow when it comes to A/B testing to make it's not so scary if it's a really easy decision.
Yeah.
You don't have to have all these numbers in your face and not know how to determine which worked and which didn't. And I think this whole A/B testing thing it's really great to be doing that leading up to the holidays,
Yep.
seeing what offers are working for you so that when you are getting more traffic to your website during the holiday season and it starts to get really busy, you already know what's converting well. And you can just update that offer to, have a holiday spin on it or whatever, relate to
Right.
Black Friday or whatever that might be.
Yeah, that's so going back to my original point, that's right now we're telling people now is the time to A/B test your lead capture, find out excuse me, what offers work and what are converting. We would argue that in that A/B test, the KPI that you should be focusing on is the opt-in rate versus maybe a conversion rate, because think about A/B testing 10% off on November 14th. 10% off for an email.
Okay.
Versus get early access to Black Friday. So you're promising people that if they sign up through your email newsletter that you're going to give them access. And if you're the type of company that has limited stock or otherwise people should know and loyal customers should have early access, then you might not see an increase in conversion rates, but that's not your goal. Your goal is to get as many people on that list as possible. So that in that sense, I would say you're A/B testing lead capture, look at the opt-in
And that's
rate
so we
right
can
now.
continue to nurture that customer because now we've already captured their information. So we can continuously message that person.
Yeah. Or you can like tag them in something like Sendlane. You can tag them as this person signed up for early access, and then they just get an email on, one of the merchants I was just talking to is saying they're starting their deals on Thanksgiving. I've talked to others that say they're starting them on Wednesday. So whenever you decide to do that, or if you're just giving a small percentage of people early access, then they're already organized that way going into Sendlane or whatever ESP you're using. And you can actually just send them an email and say, like, you don't have to open up your Black Friday technology, so to speak, for them, like whatever the global technology you're using. But you could say, here's a coupon code to get whatever you want. Thanks for signing up. And then you've built you hopefully have built a loyal customer from that. And at least if they're not a customer yet, they're going to look at you as the type of brand that stays true to, they actually give me
you're
early
developing
access.
that beginning relationship with a new customer.
Yeah, building credibility.
Totally. I also wanted to ask you, because I was, poking around on the website, and you guys mentioned a lot about predictive analytics. And I was wondering if you could explain that a little bit more to me.
Yeah, predictive analytics. So predictive analytics
I know it's
is
probably like just your fancy way of explaining a feature, like we all do. Sendlane does it too. We've gone back and forth from giving things fancy names to not as much.
Well, it's basically predictive analytics is in our situation is in our case, we're taking what we know about common visitor behavior and then finding patterns in our merchant sites and saying, okay, we've noticed this pattern before, and we kind of it's very meta, right? And we're saying
Pattern as in
a pattern, like a behavioral pattern, like new visitor from a direct channel, like or organic search, for instance. If they come to your site, and we can use predictive analytics to say this person may not need to be presented an opt-in, a lead capture opt-in, or they might be more likely to opt into that after 3 page loads.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they're more likely to get to 3 page loads. So save that for them and don't risk any opt-in rates from people that are already have a higher intent than those that are coming in from social.
Gotcha.
Again, predictive analytics would tell us that social probably going to convert at less than 0.5%. And they're probably going to bounce within maybe 15 to 20 seconds. So for that group, you want to show them their lead capture opt-in incentive maybe in 3 seconds, right? So
it's not just messaging, it's timing.
Oh, yeah.
Timing is a huge part of that. Giving the people not just the right message, but at the right time. We say that over and over again, but that's just because that's how it is.
Right.
And I remember from our last podcast, actually, something that I thought was cool that you mentioned was just having that same message both on site and in your email. So that offer is kind of they're kind of mirroring each other so that they're getting the same messaging and having the same customer experience on a variety of channels, not just on their website, but in their email. Maybe it's on social media, and tying that all together. I know you guys mentioned a little bit on the website about omni-channel messaging. So how do you guys kind of look at that term, I guess?
you found all of our buzzwords.
I
Omnichannel,
We
predictive analytics.
do a lot of website stuff around
Yeah.
here too, so I'm always paying attention to, is it cross-channel? Is it omni-channel? It's kind of, that's also a buzzword as well.
Once you wrap your head around it, it'll be something new, in my opinion.
Oh, like once you actually...
Once you kind of wrap your head around, like, oh, I think this makes sense across
I get it
multiple
now.
industries. I get it, and then it's like super channel or something. I don't. Whatever's going to be next.
That's what it is, right? In 2019, that's where we're at right now.
Super channel. It's copyrighted. So for me, omnichannel. You kind of brought up a couple of good points there. Omnichannel is really knowing what to say to which group coming in. So again, using the example of a direct or organic search visitor, those people are taking very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking on it right now. Intentional steps to explore your product and possibly purchase. And everybody, I would think everybody would agree that organic traffic is going to convert at a better rate than paid traffic. Mm-hmm. So how do you speak to those people? How do you know what to do? How do you approach them differently? And then again, using like kind of a matrix of all the channels, omni-channel, and then whether they're returning or new, and you're kind of using all that information. And I think when people say omni-channel approach, to be honest with you, my eyes kind of glaze over when someone's talking to me at a conference and they say, oh, we're an omni-channel, blah, 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 whatever. Everybody is omni-channel. Yeah. Everybody wants to.
It's just a fancy way that you're all over the place.
That you can handle all the traffic coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would say that we do the same thing, and we have very targeted ways of doing that. And you were mentioning timing earlier as far as predictive analytics, and I would go even larger, and I would say that it's all about how you target, right? And targeting plays into so much of a website experience, and it is very much at the top of mind for when a client comes in with us and they have a UX designer on their team. Mm-hmm. The UX designer thinks that they're looking at the design canvas because it's for designers, but really where we like to direct them is to the targeting, because they're the ones that are going to determine under what triggers, what behaviors, what actions, what channels is who going to see what, right?
Totally.
And if they're on mobile, how do you make the experience such that if someone doesn't want to opt in, how do you make it very easy for them to continue, right? And that's at the forefront for a lot of people's minds that we talk to.
Yeah, and it feels like you guys do a lot of on-site stuff, but I primarily, right?
Yeah.
So
no offsite.
But I like that you've got, a really good knowledge and understanding of all of the other facets that are related to that, because everything's starting on your website. And, once you've got that person's information, now we're nurturing them on a variety of channels, whatever that might be. And like we said, keeping it feeling like it's specifically for that person. Because right now, even I always use myself as an example, but I'm a shopper. So I'm a lot of
yourself best.
Yeah, I'm a lot of people's target market. And you definitely see a lot of, I would say, newer brands. You might call them millennial focused brands, but it's very obvious to me that they've really got it down when it comes to their on-site experience, their email messaging, the offers that they're sending. It's all very seamless, if you want to use that word. That's one of my favorite words to use, but it is a really seamless experience, but I enjoy it. I actually enjoy looking at everything that they're sending me, and it's kind of a cool experience. Maybe that's because I'm a marketer, so I appreciate it more.
I think it's the appreciation. That's sort of.
So I do I even do that on my Instagram stories. Yeah. I'll go back to ads because I'm like, wow, that's a really cool ad that they're putting out, and I'm sending it to our designer, screenshotting it. There's just it's clear to me there's a lot of effort going in from some of these brands to really know their audience. Yeah. Not just their general, target market of maybe millennials or whatever it is, but exactly what I'm looking at, what price point I'm looking at, what my purpose is. Yep. So there's so many ways to collect customer information, not just track them, but pay attention to, everything that they're looking at.
I think a couple synonyms that really are kind of very closely tied to everything you're saying these are digital native brands. So
Yep.
the newer brands, they're very digital native.
very digital.
So everything relies on their experience and their ad spend and everything that they're paying for to get traffic to their site.
One of whom I actually, real quick, because I remembered, I think I saw on your guys' website, Rothy's.
Rothy's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're based in San
Haven't
Francisco.
purchased yet, but they haven't backed down yet either.
Oh, they're so great to work with too, because they're a brand that's very established. I don't know that they're digital native, but they're established and they get it.
Yeah.
So they're a really great brand to work with. And I've personally worked with them for at least 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because that's actually, when I was mentioning certain brands, that's one I had in mind. And while we're talking about it, I just remembered seeing their logo on your website.
Right, yeah.
So
Another one I got to plug, who is they are one of my favorite brands to work with, is Shinesty.
Shinesty. I don't think I've heard of
Shinesty.com.
Shinesty.
They do like all over prints. They do the wacky suits that have all the NFL logos.
Yep.
They'll do the jorts and the speedo,
jorts.
the denim speedos,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the all the bachelor and bachelorette party favorites. You know,
Yep.
And so I've been working with them for like 4 years when I was still running our customer success. And if you do not sign up for their emails, you must do it, because they are hands down genuinely like will make you cackle. They are so funny, and they're so irreverent that it just makes it. There's such an like an antithesis, if you will, or like they're
Like they have a unique brand persona or voice, I
their
guess.
brand
you could
voice
say.
is like a middle finger sort of to the conventional marketing world, and it is so amazing to watch, and like I'm such a fan. It's like almost like anarchy in the marketing world, but they do such a good job at it.
Yeah.
And so their emails, even if you don't buy from them, their emails will be a bright spot in your inbox.
Yeah, I love that. And if that's something that fits in your brand and you own it, then awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that like a furniture company would be able to do that. Like, or Rothy's, for instance, like they probably won't go down that route, but they're very smart about their messaging too. And it's all about utilizing your brand voice in everything that you do.
Totally.
Right. And I think that's I think we even touched on that a little bit. And I think millennial or, these digital native brands are really kind of focused on that. They know where to target people, and then they know the feeling that we're after. They know the aesthetic that we're after as shoppers. And so, I think another one that comes to mind is like Parachute, the bed sheets.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You see, I just sent one of those ads to my girlfriend because we're like
them.
looking at sheets right now, and I was like, oh, look how great this photo is, and it just makes me want these sheets because it's such a super stylish room. It's very cozy, and it kind of fits our steez. And I'm sorry, steez is not what you want to say on a marketing podcast, but
It's okay.
I'm sorry for being real, guys.
This podcast is a open, safe space for you, Rob. It's okay.
I just calmed down a lot more.
It's okay. You're really pumped about on-site optimization and personalization and marketing.
It's my life.
Gets you jazzed up.
Yeah. And I was going to say something else. You were talking about the consistency and like continuity between channels or between, I want to throw out an example, and the biggest violators of this are bigger brands that we work with or that we don't work with that I just
more
engage
like established
with.
brands.
Very established, non-digital native. They're not.
I think that's why I kind of brought up the newer brands, because I just see them doing it so well. Probably because they did that from the start. So
they're very agile.
Yeah, they don't have to completely readjust their strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to like a department store that is moving online, and you go to their corporate headquarters, and there's at least 1,000 or 2,000 people in their office, right? And so think about how many people that is to communicate with to get something to go live or to get assets from somebody or whatever it is, versus you go into an office of a digital native brand, and there's 50 people sitting very close together, constantly meeting, constantly talking.
Yeah.
It's not quiet, and I've experienced that at least 5 to 6 times this week alone, and it's pretty consistent. But what I was going to say is that the digital native brands are getting really good at presenting a coupon code after I submit my email in the pop-up. So that's the beginning of the experience. Okay, you got me. Boom, got my coupon code. Great. Statistics say probably won't use it. And so when you send that email back to Sendlane or whatever ESP you're using, technologies like Justino, and I'm sure many others like us, will allow you to pass that coupon code in a hidden field back to the welcome series flow, right? And then you drop that coupon code in, or whatever that custom property that it loaded in for the contact, you drop that field into the welcome series. So even if you're using unique coupon codes and it's not just a generic code, that coupon code is following this person now from the on-site experience to the welcome series, and then when they click through the welcome series to come back to the site, and you're completing this another marketing buzzword, one-to-one marketing loop.
Yeah.
So when they click through the welcome series and they maybe receive a banner that says, hey, don't forget your 20% off coupon code, and it's the same coupon code, then you know that this brand is cares about continuity. And I've seen plenty of brands that usually the separation is they're not digital native, where they'll show you a coupon code and then they send you the email and it's a different coupon code. And then you get back on the site, and if they've even thought that far about, reminding this person that they have a coupon code, it's yet another coupon code.
Yeah.
So all coupon codes
don't
work.
overwhelm people with offers as well. As you're saying this, obviously you don't want all these different coupon codes, but like figure out what you want your offering to be for that person. Because I feel like it's the same in, if with email, we talk a lot about, you don't want to overwhelm people with things to click on. Let that person know that's receiving the message exactly what action they need to take. Make it, big and bold. Obviously, you can have multiple CTAs in an email if you do it right. But I think I would think it'd be the same on site, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is an optimization, like more of like a CRO tool or method that could be applied to everything in the marketing stack, right? Like I would say you just want one CTA. When you start introducing multiple, like for example, a couple of holidays ago, we had a lot of people asking us to do promo drawers because they saw it on Old Navy. And so Old Navy has a big banner at the bottom and says, get 25% off on kids gifts, get 30% off on stuff for men, and get up to 60% off on sale items. And all three had CTAs. And so everyone was really wowed by it. And this is sort of, we're not using data to inform the strategy, but we're building them anyway. And so we build them because they want them. And then we look at the analytics after 2016, 17, and we're looking at those saying, okay, those didn't really get the conversion that just a more simple message, one CTA, maybe even no CTAs, maybe just something alerting the visitor to what they're looking for, what we know about them, and guiding them through the journey with relevant messaging. Those tend to convert even better. So our whole motto this holiday season is keep it simple.
Yeah, I totally agree, because you need to have that one direct message that's going to appeal to that person. We keep saying that, but that's what's going to get people to convert. So going back to the holidays again, how do we kind of take all of these things? Like, what are some pro tips you have for e-commerce marketers that are kind of gearing up all of their promotions? Like, let's kind of summarize the tips that we have and how can we optimize these different things we've been talking about specifically for the holidays.
Okay, so I'll bullet point it.
Go for it.
So pre-Black Friday, optimize your lead capture. Turn off your lead capture on Black Friday and Cyber Week. For Black Friday and Cyber Week, you want to make sure that you are presenting how we visualize this for our customers is a like welcome mat style promotion that just says, hey, welcome to the Black Friday deals. It's up to 60% off site-wide. You have this much time to use it. No coupon code needed. That's like best case scenario, right? And so I've talked to a few big and small brands that are saying like, we have to do a coupon code. So if you have to do a coupon code, do what you can to automatically apply it at checkout. Do everything you can to simplify the experience for the user.
Yeah.
Because that's
minimal
what your competition
effort on
is.
my part to get the deal.
Exactly. And so, and then the timers are often great too, because that lets people know like how long they have, right? And so we do the welcome mat, then the welcome mat disappears. They never see that again. Instead, they'll see a courtesy banner, what we call a courtesy banner, that kind of reinforces that deal. And it says, Black Friday deals up to 60% off, no coupon code needed, timer. Yeah. And it just follows them around.
That sense of urgency now is kicking in.
Yeah.
And I'm panicking because I really wanted to get 50% off on whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. And I think another a subtle thing about the discount that you're offering is if you're doing 35% off site wide, which is I feel like is kind of common, you might
Really, 35.
I feel like I just hear that number.
Oh, weird. I mean, I believe you. I don't know what that number is as far as on-site, but 35. Good to know.
Anecdotally, I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I don't have those
It's okay,
numbers.
you're
I don't
our
have those numbers
expert
on me.
today.
I don't have
Just
those.
own it. You're our expert. 35.
That's what
The
now.
magic discount.
Hopefully everybody does that now. All the brands that I want to buy from, please do 35% off. So a subtle thing about that is you can do 35% off with a coupon code, right? And that could be site-wide. And another strategy that we've seen work really well is up to 60% off or something like that.
Yeah.
That's an arbitrary number,
Yeah.
right? So you could say up to 60% off, and that helps you account for new arrivals that maybe are only 20% off, and then all the way up to your sale and clearance items, which are up to that could be 60% off or maybe 70.
It's an
even,
all-encompassing
it's
kind of
very,
offer.
Yeah, the messaging just kind of takes care of all of it for you. And if you're automating these discounts without using coupon codes, you're going to have an easier time on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and you can kind of focus on the fulfillment, logistics, things that like really, really take up a lot of time.
Yeah, totally.
So that's one more thing. That's Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Yeah, okay.
The big thing that we get into now, which people are really curious about, is December.
Yes, I was going to say, where are we going with Christmas now?
Yeah, so December is big, and that becomes, I feel like, the time of year where most retailers focus into how do I keep sales on my site versus big box retailers like Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon did 40% of sales last year online. And so they're a behemoth, and everybody knows it. And you're not...
I freaking love Amazon.
I know. It's this love-hate thing.
It's like we always joke about it here at the office because we all get tons of Amazon packages.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not going to get here in a day. Like, why would I order anything that's not going to get here in a day?
Yeah.
It's hard, though, but
that's silly.
Yeah, but, there's certain brands, like, I don't mind waiting for it because the quality is worth it, and I like that experience with that brand. Anyway, sorry.
And a lot of them sell on Amazon, too. And so...
Yeah, totally.
You're not going to compete with Amazon.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, unless you're Walmart, maybe, and they're even having trouble.
Especially for our last-minute shoppers, as we talk about December. I feel like that's a huge thing.
Right.
Is people panicking to make sure, you got everything and all your bases are covered for all your kids or whatever it is, like the week before Christmas or the
exactly.
week of.
I think a lot of people talk about like the late shoppers, right? Like the last minute shoppers, guilty as charged. And so in terms of not competing with them, but keeping some of the sales on your site, you need to get that messaging out there that you can do 2-day free express shipping because that's what Amazon does.
Yeah.
And you need to realize that there are things that you can do that Amazon cannot do. You can offer a free gift with their purchase, right?
Yeah.
And you can give them the free express 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
You can post banners on your site using or technology like ours that say, you can do AOV lifting banners that say, hey, you're only $28.32 away from free shipping.
That gets me every time.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a really
Even if
easy
shipping
way.
was like $5.
Yeah.
I'll add another $36 to my cart or whatever.
Research has shown over and over and over again that the large majority of abandoned carts happen because of shipping costs and time. So that's why, it's so important to message that, right? So, and then as you were talking about like Christmas, we obviously want to be totally non-denominational, but the fact is that most things really slow down about December 22nd. Mm-hmm. And so whenever your shipping deadlines are, you want to focus on letting people know with a countdown timer, like, hey, get your gifts by December 25th, order by now, and then you have a timer or something like that. But more importantly, I think earlier on than that, free gifts with purchase, free shipping thresholds, cross-selling with bundling. I feel like that's a huge trend right now is bundling gifts.
Yep.
And so think about you're going into a site to buy a gift for one person, but you end up walking out with 3 or 4 at a discount. Think about how that helps you stand out from the competition. And that's something that we hear all the time too, is like, how am I going to stand out?
Yeah. And like you said, with cross-selling and upselling and all that, and increasing the add to cart value, product recommendations are huge. I feel like I get product recommendations everywhere.
Yeah.
Like after I've made a purchase or based on what I've been looking at. And I think some of the best I've seen are the ones that display right in your cart when you're going to check out.
Yep.
because I've like, oh, the sweater that you got is also in yellow or whatever. And I find myself clicking out of it. And that's just my personal experience. But
Right.
I really think that, those product recommendations that are really targeted based off what you know about that visitor is going to be huge.
Yeah. That's where I think AI is really talk about a buzzword, really big in e-commerce now. And I know that with what we are doing with it and what we do with our product recommendations is we provide merchants with 5 algorithms that you can kind of guide the AI with, right? And so if you're the shopper or if you're the merchant and you're saying, what do I want to see? Do I want to see something that's going to help me cross-sell? Or like, am I going to sell this sweatshirt with these pants?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to try and sell like a cardigan sweatshirt as opposed to the cotton one? And that's an upsell, right?
Yeah.
Or are my product recommendations just going to be, do I have few enough SKUs to say, I just want to show the most viewed or the most purchased with whatever's in the cart?
Yeah.
Right. And then we have a 5th one that we actually just introduced, which are the ones that the user had previously viewed. So that's the one that gets me, I think, as a shopper, is like, I was looking at this one, I'm like, and then I put the other one in my cart, and then I see the product rec that's like, you also looked at this? Are you sure? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
I'm so unsure.
I'm
going to go
so
ahead and buy
indecisive.
it anyways.
Yes, let's do it. Come on.
Yeah.
So we're introducing algorithms that guide the AI for product recommendations, and it's one of the hottest things that customers are coming to us asking for is they want these things in a dynamic way. They don't necessarily want to do manual upsells and cross-sells, even though that's totally effective as well.
Well, that's why this is the marketing automation hustle. Like, we want you to automate these things.
Yeah.
And as far as the setup portion of everything, once we always use the term, set it and forget it.
Yep.
It's very much like that. Obviously, you're going to go back and check on it and update things and all of that. But once you've really put something together that you see working, once you turn that on and you start seeing people opt in and convert, you're literally just watching it happen and tweaking things here and there to better optimize it based on what you're seeing from your customers or leads.
Right. Yeah. I think having it automated allows you to bring it brings things like just back into their lane, kind of just like you said, set it and forget it. That's a one of our favorite terms too, and it's become less and less like that because as our product becomes a little bit more feature rich, it's not as set it and forget it, but it's more customizable. It's you trade that sort of set it and forget it for all these options that you get on the side too.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of blending that now. And I think that's when you see automation, dynamic, AI, you hear all those words, you hope that means less work for me.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's the work up front.
Yeah.
Right. If you're putting the work in up front, it's going to pay off in the end. You're going to do a lot less of it consistently along the way. So I want to make sure before we wrap this up, I want to make sure that our listeners have a chance to sign up for Just or learn about, whatever new stuff you guys have going on, how they can get started with you guys.
So if you're on any of the major cart platforms like Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, WordPress, etc., you can download and install our app through the various app and extension stores. You can also go to justuno.com and you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. We don't require any cards up front. You can try it out. You can launch them on your site. You can talk to an onboarding specialist, and we can help you get at least a couple campaigns live that prove our ROI and show you the platform. And then we also have various levels of services. If you're in need of holiday help, for example, we have a holiday package where our pro services comes in. We'll build your campaigns for you. We'll test them. We'll make sure they're live. And then you can be on an engagement like that for a short period of time. And then you can evaluate after the holidays, what type of services do I really need past that? Because, we get the January slump and we have strategies for that too, which we can get to at a later time. But, we want to help people be successful because that is a win for everybody.
Totally, on both ends. And there's still plenty of time for you guys to prep your marketing strategy, plenty of time to put all the things Rob and I have been talking about in place. It's, there is work up front, but there's things you can do now to get that going so that by the time you are going into January, you're already seeing a lot of results and some of the smarter marketing decisions or turns you need to take as we go into 2020.
Couldn't agree more.
Awesome to have you here, Rob. It was nice to, see your smiling face in
Same.
person other than just Skype and LinkedIn and email.
Yeah, it's not as pixelated in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, we had someone come in here earlier because, I saw you on Skype and I saw you on LinkedIn, but you never really know what somebody looks like till you see them for real. We had somebody else come in here
Sorry
earlier.
about that.
It's like, he doesn't look anything like his picture.
I don't?
Obviously, it wasn't you.
Oh.
No, someone came in right before you, right when we were expecting you.
Oh.
So, now I know what you look like. So.
Okay, well, sorry.
And we brought you back to
Sorry.
San Diego.
Yeah, no.
And I know you're not mad about that.
No, my mom's not mad about it either. So we're gonna go get some lunch after
Rob's
this.
mom,
and
you're
she's-
welcome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
In case you're listening, Mom.
Yeah, in case she decided to tune into the marketing automation hustle,
Yeah.
if she's into e-commerce marketing.
That would be I would be there. There are a few things that would surprise me more, unless she's like, "Oh, my son's on it."
Well, thank you so much for being here, Rob. It was awesome to have you again. Every time we've talked to you, I feel like it's a really valuable educational episode, and you
thank
guys
you.
have an awesome platform. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Happy to do it, and good talking with you, and kind of like we have a good rapport and rapping about the industry. And I feel like people like us, if you're at a bar and you're in marketing and you talk to someone that's not in marketing and you start to get into it a little bit, you're like, oh my God, I'm such a nerd.
Or they have no idea. Like, I love when people are like, what do you do? Like, what does your product do? And it's like, I think my husband, we've had to talk about it at least 5 or 6 times, like really thoroughly, because he's a physical therapist, for him to understand what it is. So I agree. It's nice to talk with somebody that's in the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you say, I send emails and they're like, well, I do that from Gmail too. What do you mean?
I know. It's like...
Yeah.
But thank you for
Always
being
fun.
here. And for our listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'd really love to hear from you. If there's anything me or Rob touched on in our convo that you want a little bit more information about, or you're curious about, or maybe you have a few questions about the Just Uno platform, be sure to shoot me an email, Caitlin@Sendlane.com, and I'll be happy to get those over to Rob, or if it's for me, shoot it directly to me. And of course, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud, or you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, whatever the action is. We'd really appreciate it. And again, if you're interested in our new course, E-commerce Email Academy, you can grab all the details for that course today and enroll at ecomemailacademy.com/podcast. And if you're an e-commerce marketer, or you just want to really expand your knowledge in the email marketing space, whatever it might be, I highly recommend you check the course out. So we hope you guys have a really successful season of holiday spending. And thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Marketing Automation Hustle.